Hello everyone, this is for our ECED 302 week 1 discussion. This is our prompt, and mainly if you see me looking down, it's because I'm following my notes right here. I kind of wanted to make it as simple as possible, but also make sure I try to stay within the 5 minutes. I'm so bad at it. I've had so many classes where I make videos and I try my hardest to speak as fast as I can, but also make it fluent enough where other people can understand and make sure that my prompt is being thoroughly gone through. Really quickly as an introduction, because I've noticed that, most of my classes have had an introduction on week 1, and then also follow through with the prompt. My name's Simi, Simi Dosanjh. I've worked with kids since I was 19. That was my first job at an after-school program. I worked there for a year, then worked at Sheep Health Clubs with little kids because I wanted more of a daycare setting where it's not really just structured, but I also needed balance with school. But it did help me with management and actually getting down to learning about kids and learning just with them. It wasn't just a classroom setting, so I wanted something different. That was an experience. It was great. I mean, I learned a lot from it. I was there for about 3.5-4 years, and then this is now my 4th year working as a paraprofessional. I started with first graders, so it's literally been first graders my first year. First and second, my second year. Third year was third graders. Fourth year is fourth graders. So, kind of weird to say, but hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I've done so far. I've had a bunch of experience, but I feel like I still need to grow in so many areas. We're now at about 1 minute and 45 seconds, so now I'm going to go into the prompt and try to make sure that I thoroughly help other people understand what my response is. So now we'll continue here. So the first part of the prompt is, how have the 6 life skills impacted your life? Give an example of one of the skills that have helped you get where you are today, and give an example of a strength you are still working on. When answering, please refer to the 6 life skills described in Chapter 1 of Biomes, 2012, which is the book that's been provided and that we have. Number 2. So I'm going to read both of them. Number 2, referring to one of the 5 protective factors from the Strengthening Families framework, describe how you think this protective factor might positively influence the development of one of the 6 life skills from Biomes. Explain why. So now I'll jump into the bottom portion of my paper that I have here, and I wanted to speak about the strength, which is the contribution, being allowed to provide input. So throughout all of where I've worked, so say if we jump back to where I worked at the after school program, I was able to provide input prior to that because I was an event manager. So from event manager, I was able to actually jump in and be an employee, which is cool because I kind of learned, who to talk to. It wasn't just the supervisor, but who to actually reach out to. You learn the proper footstep on who to reach out to and what you think would work for kids. So say I learned a lot during that time. As a previous example, you learn a lot because it wasn't just having an art club. It was making sure that you're not just doing painting, but you're doing something hands-on. Especially when every other day, certain days I was with high schoolers, other days I was with first and second graders. My mind was jumping back and forth. I was tired, but I had to come up with ideas quick enough, and I had to make sure I was speaking to the right people to make sure I had the right ideas of what to provide for each of the students. I didn't want beadwork for little children, for first and second graders. That was probably going to be a little bit harder. I want something a little more specific, a little more engaging for older kids. So contribution, just knowing who to talk to, being allowed to provide input. So again, you have to know who to talk to. You can't just give input to everybody, or just staff, or just people you work with, because then the input's not going to go anywhere. But knowing who to talk to. That's given me a strength, because sometimes people don't say anything and then they're miserable at work, or there's no change at work. So I feel like some contribution has helped me in certain ways. We're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so I'm going to try and rush this, and I'm also going to try and make sure I hit every part of my answer. Forgive me though, it's cold. I'm sitting outside Starbucks. I'm trying not to shiver, but it's so cold, and I'm sitting out Starbucks because I need Wi-Fi, because I live in a small town, and I live over by the orchard where there's not amazing Wi-Fi. Okay, so on to the next one. I apologize. need to improve. So that's where I would say collaboration, even though there's a contribution, I don't think personally and professionally I've hit or has I have been able to maintain or have had too many chances even on collaboration. So yes, working as a team, I do say myself, yes, working as a team, seeing eye to eye. So I feel like collaboration for me is actually working and engaging and sitting in meetings with people who are from higher than my supervisor and actually making sure that the input happens. So yes, my strength is providing the input, but how do I make that happen? So even though I can sit and write, requests and what I think, the students need, even with my current job, things may be, even now my current job as a para, how do I write what paras need? But then also, so that's my contribution, which is my strength. But now how do I collaborate and talk to the right people? I'm a parent now, so I work for Modesto schools. How do I make that happen and actually be heard, which I feel like is the hardest thing now, especially with my future of trying to become a teacher. So many teachers I've spoke to before I rant on, so many teachers I've talked to, it's hard to be heard, but they say it is worth, saying something and providing some input. So again, back to before my rant started, needing to improve is definitely collaboration. Learning who to talk to, but make it happen. That's where I need strength. That's where I need to improve. So down to our second question, it was talking about the 5 protective factors. It's resilience to adapt, the self-regulation, so dealing with feelings, speaking about it, social, emotional, competence, and all that. So definitely being able to speak about it. Sometimes, just as self-regulation, you can't just show every single emotion. You need to learn how to self-regulate, say it in a very personal yet professional manner, and just being able to really understand where someone else is coming from. But the resilience to be able to adapt is definitely being able to adapt with each and every family. So me as a para or as a previous after-school program staff member is being able to adapt to different children and different students and knowing what their needs are and what they want, So that's one of the factors that I would definitely have to cover. That's one of the ones that were definitely important to me. I'm looking down, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure I covered all of my notes and to make sure that my prompt has been fully answered. So, it looks like it has been. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so sorry I went over. Have a good day. Bye.